So in the last session, we have discussed about the conditional statements. Now we'll see the iterative statements. Then what exactly the iterative statements? What is the use? In what iterative statements are available in Apex programming? And how to use those iterative statements, we'll see practically today. Suppose for example, I want to print the welcome message onto the debug log file. Then how can we print that welcome message? So for that one, we are using system.debug statement. In system.debug statement, I need to specify that welcome message. Now this statement is going to be printing the welcome message onto the debug log file. So it will print that message only once. So we can see the result in the debug log statement. Suppose I want to print the same message 2 times. I want to print this welcome message 2 times onto the debug log file. So in this case, what needs to be done? We have to write that same statement 2 times. The first statement will print this message 1 time, and the second statement will print the message another time here. Sometimes I want to print that message 5 times here, so that we need to write the same statement 5 times. That means system.debug welcome. So we need to write the same code 5 times over here. But in this case, what will happen? The same code that I am writing keep on again and again and again. That means there is a duplicate code. There is a redundant code is available here. The same statement I am writing keep on. But just what I am doing, I am displaying some message, that's it. For that purpose, if I am writing the same code again and again and again, it will look like as a complex. But the functionality is very simple. Just I'm displaying some message onto that log file, that's it. So now here in this case here, whenever you are going to be writing that same code, then it will occupy more number of characters. It will make your application complex. To avoid these kind of problems, to make your code generic, to make your code unique, instead of writing the same statements again and again and again, what I want to do is, I would like to write these statements only once, and then I would like to repeatedly execute the same statement for the multiple times. Depends upon my need. That means I don't want to write that same code here again and again and again. I want to write this code only once. And then I would like to execute this code depends upon my requirement, the required number of times. If you want to execute these statements 2 times, then you can execute. If you want to execute it for 10 times, then you can execute. If you want to execute it for 100 times, you can execute. 1000 times, you can execute. Whatever. Write the code only once and then keep on repeatedly execute these statements the required number of times based on your application requirement. The possibility is available over here. So that whenever if you want to execute some set of statements repeatedly or iteratively or continuously for the required number of times, then we can go with that iterative statements. So that with the help of the iterative statements, we can execute a group of statements or a block of statements iteratively till the required number of times. That possibility is available. By using iterative statements, we can execute a group or block of statements iteratively till the required number of times based on the based on the. So now here in this case here, what iterative statements are available in Apex programming? Apex provides the 4 iterative statements. Okay, we have below 4 iterative statements in Apex programming. The first one is while iterative statement. It is also called as a while loop. Second one is the do while. Third one is for loop. Fourth one is enhanced for loop. These are the 4 iterative statements that we have in our Apex programming language. Okay. So these are the 4 iterative statements that we have in Apex program. While, do while, for, and enhanced for. These are the 4 iterative statements are available. So now in this case, how to use this while, what is the syntax, we'll see practically over here. It is also called as while iterative statement or while loop, whatever, anything. These iterative statements are also called as looping statements in Apex programming. So that these are keep on iterating those statements, these are keep on executing the statements till the required number of times. So that these are also called as the looping statements also. Then what exactly the while loop over here? When coming to the while is also one of the iterative statement which allows you to execute a piece of code repeatedly till the required number of times. Okay, so this is also one of the iterative statement which will repeatedly execute the specified statements till the required number of times. That possibility is available as part of this while iterative statement over here. Now, in this case, what is the syntax of this while iterative statement? When coming to the syntax, we have the syntax like this. While, we can specify the conditions. Here we can write the statements. What are the statements that you want, you can able to write the statements inside this. Now, then how it is going to be executing here? What is the execution flow? Let me explain over here. So now whenever I am going to be using this while iterative statements, first of all here, it will be executing the statements as it is, and when a certain point of time, it will be reaching to this while. Because execution will be done in the sequential manner. Whatever the statements that are written one by one will keep on execute, but at a certain point of time, it will be reaching to the while statement. In this case, first of all here, in the first attempt itself, it will be having the conditions. So that first of all, it will check the conditions over here. Okay. So now, whenever it is entering into that while loop, first of all, it has to satisfy the conditions. So now, whatever the conditions we have specified, you can specify one or more number of conditions, whatever you want. Depends upon your business logic, depends upon your application requirement, we can specify the conditions. So now whatever the conditions you have specified, if the conditions are satisfied, then it will enter into this block over here. Okay. Once the conditions has been getting satisfied, it will enter into the block. Once it has entered into the block, then whatever the statements that are written, these statements will be getting executed here. Okay. Whatever the statements that are written, those statements will be getting executed. So once such statements have been executed once, okay, if there is no more statements to execute, then again it will check the conditions over here. This is the fourth step. Then again it will check the conditions here. If this condition is satisfied, again it will enter into the block, it will execute the statements. So now after that it will go to that conditions part again. Like that this process will be keep on continued till the conditions are getting satisfied. Okay, this process will be keep on continued till the conditions are getting satisfied. Once the condition get failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically by default here. Okay, once the condition get failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically by default here. So this is a process is happening when coming to that while iterative statement. Now, so as part of this while iterative statement, so now first of all it will verify the conditions and then only it will enter into the block. Once it has entered into the block, whatever the statements that are written, the statements will be getting executed. Once all the statements have been executed once, then it will be re-executing that state, re-checking the condition, and then it will be re-executing the statements one by one, like that here. So this process will be keep on continued till the conditions are getting satisfied. Once the condition get failed, that will be coming out from the block automatically by default. This is the execution flow is happening when coming to that while iterative statements. So in this case, when you go to that while iterative statement, before executing the statement, first of all it is verifying the conditions. If the conditions are getting satisfied, then only the statements will be getting executed. So that while iterative statement is also called as pre-checking iterative statement. It is a pre-checking iterative statement, which will execute the statement based on the specified conditions. Which will execute the statements based on the specified conditions. If the conditions are getting satisfied, then only the respective block of statements will be getting executed. If the conditions are get failed, then it won't enter into the block, it won't execute the statements over here. Now, this is a process is happening when coming to the while iterative statement over here. Now, in this case, how to use this while iterative statement? Now let's see practically. Write a small program over here. Write an Apex program to print the welcome message 10 times. On the log file. I want to print this welcome message 10 times onto my debug log file here. Then how can we print this welcome message 10 times? That means not only one time I want to print up to 10 times. So that instead of writing that same system.debug statement again and again and again, I will write only once and I will keep on execute till the required number of times. Then how can we write this code? Now let's see practically. Now, so in this case, what needs to be done? I want to print the same welcome message 10 times over here. So now whenever I'm printing this one, once I have printed 10 times, I need to stop over there or not? Yes. Because I don't want to print 9 times, I don't want to print 11 times. I want to print exactly 10 times. So that here, whenever I'm printing once, I need to count, right? Okay, I have printed 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times. Once I have printed up to 10 times, I will need to stop printing over there. So in this case, I keep on every time I need to count. For that one here, to maintain that counting process, I would like to define one variable here. I'm defining counter variable. With generally the counting will be starting from 1. So that I'm defining this variable as 1. So now here I would like to specify while the counter value less than or equals to 10. That means till the counter value is reaching to 10, then please execute this statement over here. What statement? System.debug. Welcome to some Apex program. So welcome to Apex programming. So keep on, I would like to execute that statement here. So how many times here? Till keep on 10 times over here. So in this case, let's take this value. This is a counter value here. Counter value. Initially, what is the counter value? 1. Okay. Now, it will check the condition. Counter value less than or equals to 10. That means 1 less than or equals to 10. Condition is satisfied? Yes. Because here 1 is less than or equals to 10. So now 1 is less than 10. So the condition is satisfied. So it will enter into the block. It will execute the statement here. Now it will be printing the statement once. After that, what I need to do? I need to print that message second time here. Then how can we in that incrementing this value by 1? For that one, I would like to increment the value by 1 by using counter plus plus. Okay. Now, so one time already I have printed. Now I am going to be incrementing that value. That means I am printing the second time. So that counter value will be incrementing by 2. Now it will check the condition. 2 less than or equals to 10. Condition is true. It will print that message second time over here. Once it has been printed, it will be incrementing the value by 1 more. So already counter value is 2, now it will be 3. It will be verifying the condition. 3 less than or equals to 10. Condition is true again. It will print that statement. Third time also it will print. Like that here, it will increment the value by 1. Like that here, it will be printing up to 10 times. So once the counter value is reaching to the 10, then it will verify that. 10 less than or equals to 10. Condition is true. It will print the message over here, 10th time. After that, counter value will be incremented by 1 more, so that will be 11. It will check the condition. 11 less than or equals to 10. The condition is failed because 11 is greater than 10. So it will be coming out of the block automatically. Like that here, we can able to write that required business logic inside that while iterative statement. So that we can add the required condition, not only one, multiple conditions also we can verify. We can write that multiple conditions also inside the while loop, and then we can able to write the required business logic also. It may be simple business logic, it may be complex business logic also. Both are possible in this case. Now, so now let me execute this piece of code. Click on execute. The request has been sent to the server. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is printing this same message 10 times over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now totally 10 times the same message will be getting printed over here. It will print the same message 10 times. Like that here, we can able to write the required business logic to be get executed repeatedly till the required number of times by using this while loop. Okay. So now this is how we are going to be writing this looping statements or iterative statements inside your Apex program. Next one, write one more program. Write an Apex program to print the even numbers between 1 to 100. I want to print the even numbers between 1 to 100. Then how can we print the even numbers between 1 to 100 Now let's see practically. Then how to print these even numbers between 1 to 100. Now let's see practically in this case. So now for that one, I'm going to be writing some piece of code. First of all, I'm defining a variable, counter value. I'm starting from 2. Why? Because the first even number is 2. Okay, I'm initializing from 2. Between 1 to 100, the first even number is 2. So that I'm initializing that variable with the value 2. Now I would like to iterate till what time? Till 100. I would like to verify. So that here I'm verifying this. While counter value less than or equals to 100. That means till the counter value is reaching to 100, I would like to iterate these statements. Now what is this counter value? That is 2. I want to print that value because I would like to display that first even number, that is 2. Now even number is, I want to display that. So now once I have displayed that value 2, then what is the second even number? That is 4. How can we get that value? By incrementing that value by 2. So how can we increment the value by 2? Plus equals to 2. That's it. Done. So in this case, what will happen? First of all, the counter value is 2. It will check the condition. 2 less than or equals to 100. Condition is true. Because here 2 is always less than 100. Condition is true. It will enter into the block. It will print the value counter. That means 2 value will be getting printed here. Then counter value will be incrementing by 2 more. That means here it will be 4. 4 less than or equals to 100. Condition is true. Again the condition, the second value will be getting printed. Then again counter value will be incrementing by 2 more. As of now it is 4, now it will be 6. It will print that value again here. And then it will be incrementing the value by 2 more, 8. So that 8 is less than or equals to 100. So condition is satisfied. Like that here it will be printing up to 100. Once the value 100 has been getting printed, now the value will be incrementing by 2 more. That means 102. Here it will check the condition. 102 is less than or equals to 100. Condition is false. So it will be coming out from the block automatically by default here. So like that here we can able to write our own business logic, and then we can able to execute the statements repeatedly till the required number of times over here. Now click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is printing the values. Like as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like that, all the even numbers up to 100. So it is printing the value up to 100. Okay, we can see that value is up to 100 here. Okay. So this is how we can able to use this while iterative statement over here. Next, I would like to write one more small program over here. Write an Apex program to print the mathematical table for the given number as below. I want to generate the mathematical table. For example, if I am giving that number as on 5, it has to print like that. 5 into 1 equals to 5. 5 into 2 equals to 10. Like that, it has to print up to 5 into 10 equals to 50. Is what I'm expecting over here. This is my requirement. If I'm giving the number as 5, it has to generate the mathematical table for 5. If I'm giving the value 136, it has to generate the mathematical table for 136. Like that, it depends upon the number whatever I have given. So for that number, it has to generate the mathematical table here. That is my requirement. Then how can we implement that? Now let's see practically in this class. Now let's see here. How can we implement this? So that here we need to generate the mathematical table for which number? For the number 5 or 10, 20, 100, whatever, anything. So that to store that value, we need to use an integer. Integer max number. I'm defining one variable. And then, and after that, every time we need to increment that value because here to maintain 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10, we need one variable, right? For that one, I'm defining one more variable here. Counter. So now for this max number, that means for which number you want to generate the mathematical table. I'm giving that value as some 157. For the number 157, I want to generate the mathematical table here. And the counter value, I'm starting from 1. Because here I'm going to multiplying from 1 itself here. Because 157 into 1 equals to 157 like that. We are going to starting from 1. Now let's verify. I'm writing the business logic. While the counter value less than or equals to 10. Because here I need to print that mathematical table from 1 to 10. So that here I'm going to keep on iterating this counter value here from 1 to 10. And then I need to display that. How I need to display? 5 into 1 equals to 5. 5 into 2 equals to 10. That means 5 means what? Max number. 1 in the sense counter value. Okay, now I would like to print that. System.debug. So now I am going to printing that. So now what is that number here? Max number. That means some 5. After that into is a character. So that for that one I am going to be using plus symbol to concatenate that. Okay. Now into. And after that I need to show the value as what? 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So that here will be I am using that counter variable. And then after that I need to specify that equality symbol. Okay, I am specifying that equality symbol over here. And then after that what I need to display? I need to display the multiplication of these two values. 5 into 1. Okay, equals to 5. 5 means what you are getting from by multiplying that here. For that one I am using this. Max number into counter. And then once it has been printed, then second time I need to print, right? 5 into 2 equals to some 10. Like that we need to increment the counter value by 1 more. So that here I am going to be incrementing the counter value by 1 with the help of this counter plus plus. So now keep on, I'm executing this one. Execute these statements. Now let's see the result. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating that the message over here. 157 into 1 equals to 157. 157 into 2 equals to 314. And the 157 thrice equals to 471. Like that here, we are getting the value up to 10. Suppose if you want to generate the mathematical table for the number some 279, then simply you can specify 279. That's it. Done. Click on execute. It will generate the result here. So just you can specify the number, it will generate the mathematical table for that number itself over here. so that keep on repeatedly we can execute that statement over here. Suppose that I want to print up to 20, like as 279 into 20. For that one simply we can specify, instead of this 10 we can specify till 20 here. Just click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is printing up to 20 times over here. 279 into 20 equals to 5590. Like that here we can able to generate the mathematical tables for the given number based on our requirement over here. The possibility is there by using this iterative statements. Okay, now next one. The second iterative statement is do while. Do while statement or do while loop. Now, so what is this do while and what is the syntax over here? Do while is also one of the iterative statement. Okay, one of the iterative statement like as while, but it is having a small difference. It is having a small change in terms of syntax, in terms of execution process. So it will be having that do. We can write the statements whatever you want. Whatever the statement that you want to execute, write those statements, and then finally we can specify the while conditions. This is the syntax we have to follow as part of do while. So now as part of this do while, we have to specify the do statement and then specify the statements whatever you want, and then specify the condition here. Okay, specify the condition. Okay. Now, in this case here, okay, now we are in this case. Now we can specify do, specify the statements, while conditions. Now here in this case, what is the execution flow? So now it will be executing the statements here one by one, like that. Whenever it is reaching to the do, directly it will be entering into that do statement over here. Okay, directly it will be entering into the do statement because there is no conditions available here. So that it will enter into this do statement here. Once it has entered into that, then whatever the statements are available, it will execute that statements once. As a step 2, it will execute the statements. Once the statements have been getting executed, that means one time the statements have been executed, then it will check the condition over here. Okay? After executing the statements once, it will check the conditions over here. As a step 3. If the conditions are satisfied, then it will be re-entering into the block again to execute the statements one more time. Okay, it will re-execute the statements one more time. And then once the statements have been executed, it will check the condition again here. If the condition is satisfied, again it will enter into the block. Like that here, this process will be keep on continued till the conditions are getting satisfied. Once the condition get failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically waiting for it. It will be coming out from the block automatically. So this is the flow of execution here. But in this case here, what we have observed, when coming to the do while, without verifying the condition, directly it will enter into the block, it will execute the statements once. Once the statements has been executed, then only it will check the condition over here. So that means what here, for example, in the first attempt itself, if the condition get failed, then what will happen? By that time, already statements have been executed once. Okay, by that time, already statements have been executed once. So that here, when coming to the do while is called as a post-checking iterative statement. a post-checking iterative statement, which will execute the statements once and then it will check the condition over here. If the condition is satisfied, keep on, it will be entering into the block and it will be executing the statements over here till the condition gets satisfied. Once the condition gets failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically by default. Okay, now.
So it was actually even in the while loop, normal while loop also, it was checking the conditions and executing the statement. So why do we need this do while? I know like there will be some certain conditions you'll have to
Now,
use it like.
yes, do while is pure. The while is purely a checking condition. That means first of all, it will check the conditions. Once the condition has been getting satisfied, then only it will be entering into the block to execute that. But here, when coming to the do while, so it is going to be executing the statements at least once, and then it will be executing the checking the conditions over here.
Can you give any real-time example like?
Yeah, we'll see. When moving forward, we'll see that where we can use this while, where we can use this do while, when coming to the DML statements. DML statements and transactions, when coming to that, the Apex programming will see that. Okay, now. So now here in this case, so that this do while is also called as the post-checking iterative statement. It is a post-checking iterative statement which will execute the statement at least once. Which will execute the statements at least once. Now, so now in this case, how can we use this do while iterative statement in our Apex programming? Now let's see practically. Now, let's take a small example about it. Write an Apex program to print the numbers between 1 to 100 in reverse order. I want to print the numbers in reverse order. That means 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, like that up to 1 I would like to print. Then how can we print these numbers in the reverse order? Now let's see practically in this case. Now in this case, so I would like to start printing the value from 100 onwards. So that here I am defining and initializing the variable with 100. Because here I would like to start printing the value from 100. So that here I am initializing the variable with the value 100. Next one. After that, so I would like to print the value 100 and then keep on I would like to reduce the value by 1. So that here I am using this do while. Do, I am printing that value. Number value is counter. And once the value has been getting printed, then I would like to decrement the value by 1. So that I am using counter minus minus. I am using that minus minus, nothing but decremental operator. And then I would like to check the condition. If the counter value greater than or equals to 1. That means till the counter value is greater than or equals to 1, I would like to keep on repeatedly execute these statements here. So that initially the counter value is 100. Now it will print that message over here. And it will be decrementing the value by 1. That means value will be 99 now. It will check the condition 99 is greater than or equals to 1. Yes, the condition is true. It will be re-entering into the block, execute the statements. Counter value now decrementing by 1 more. That means 98. It will check the condition 98 is greater than or equals to 1. Like that, it will be keep on executing the statement here till it is reaching to 1. Once the counter value is 1, it will print the value here. it will decrement the value by 1 more. That means here 1 minus 1, that will 0. So now 0 greater than or equals to 1. Condition is false because 0 is less than 1. So that here we check the condition. So the condition will get failed. It will be coming out from the block automatically by default here. Like that here we can able to use this do while iterative statement also as part of this. Now, so now let's execute this code. Print the values. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is printing the value from 100 to till 1. We can able to see all those values also. Okay, we can see all those values up to 1. So this is how we can able to use that do while iterative statement. But in the while is a pre-checking iterative statement and do while is a post-checking iterative statement. In while, it will check the conditions first and till the conditions are not satisfied, it won't execute. But in the do while, the statements will be executing at least once, even though the condition may be failed at the first attempt itself. By that time, statements are already executed once. Like that here, we can able to verify this. The next one, for iterative statement. Then how can we use this for loop over here? So when coming to the for iterative statement, for is also one of the iterative statement which provides an optimized way of using iterative statements to you. That means what? As of now, we have written so many programs. In these programs, we are having some common thing. Like when you observe these programs here, what we did is, so now as a step 1, we have defined the variable and we have initialized the variable here. This is the step 1. And then we are verifying the conditions by writing a separate line of code. And then we are incrementing or decrementing the value by using a separate line of code here. That means what? These 3 statements are common everywhere. In every program, we have followed that same 3 steps. So in this case, what happened? We are writing the 3 lines of code to initialize and to check the conditions and to increment or decrementing the values. But in this case, instead of writing this 3 lines of code, which will be occupying more lines of code inside my application programming, which will be looking like as complex, to avoid this kind of complexity, why can't we reduce this number of statements by combining these 3 statements into a single line? So that we can optimize our code, we can reduce the number of lines of statements inside your Apex programming so that we can able to execute your application with a faster speed. The possibility is available. So now here in this case, how can we combine these 3 statements into a single one? For that one, when coming to that for loop provides an optimized way of using iterative statements over here. Now in this case, what is the syntax that we have? For that one, we have to use that for and then specify that initialization part and the conditions part are increment or decremental part. So these are the 3 parts that we need to write. Okay, these are the 3 parts that we need to write over here. Now, here we can able to write the statements whatever we want. What are the statements that we want, we can write those statements as well over here. So now here in this case, so now we need to write that for and then write the initialization part and the conditions part and then increment or decremental part over here. Now, in this case, we are going to be combining all these 3 statements into a single one. That possibility is available. Then what is the execution flow? So first of all, it is going to be initializing that variables and it will be assigning the value for these variables here as a step 1. Once the variables have been getting initialized, then it is going to be checking the conditions over here. As a step 2, it will check the condition. Once the condition has been getting satisfied, it will enter into the block over here. This is the third step. Once it has entered into the block, what are the statements that were written, those statements will be getting executed once. Okay, those statements has to be get executed once over here. Once the statements have been getting executed, it is going to be incrementing or decrementing that variable value. So this is a step 5. Once the variable value has been incremented or decremented by 1, then it will check the condition again. Then it will check the condition. Once the condition gets satisfied, it will re-enter into the block. It will execute that segment and move one more time. It will increment or decrement the value. Again, it will check the condition. It will be continuing. This process will be keep on continued till the conditions are getting satisfied. Once the condition get failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically by default over here. Once the condition get failed, it will be coming out from the block automatically by default over here. So this is a process is going to be happening when coming to the for iterative statement. But in this case also, for is also one of the iterative statement. What type of iterative statement? Is it a pre-checking or post-checking? Pre-checking. After initializing the variables, it will check the conditions. Once the condition gets satisfied, then only it will be entering into the block here. So that here, it will check the conditions before executing that statements over here. So that for loop is also one of the pre-checking iterative statement which provides an optimized way of writing iterative statements over here inside our Apex programming. Okay. Now, it is a pre-checking iterative statement which provides an optimized way of using iterative statements in Apex program, so that we can able to reduce the number of lines of code, and then we can able to make your code optimized, and we can execute that code with a faster speed. So that possibility is available as part of this for iterative statement. Then how can we use that? Now let's see practically. For example, I would like to write a small program over here, the same program which you have written previously. Like for example, to generate that mathematical table for this number, we are going to be using this one. Okay? To generate the mathematical table, we have written these many number of lines of code. So now here almost we have written that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then these 8 lines of code we have written. Now let's see how can we write that same program with the help of this for loop over here. I would like to write that same code. How can we implement that? By using for loop. Then we can understand so how efficient it is. So I am using this for loop here. In that one, first of all, we have to initialize the variable here and then assign the values. For which number you want to generate the mathematical table, I am specifying that. Max number equals to some 234 and the counter value equals to 1. I am defining the two variables and then I am going to be assigning the value for these two variables in one line itself. And then I want to verify that the counter value is less than or equals to 10. And every time I want to increment the counter value by 1. So that here I am using this counter plus plus over here. I am using this counter plus plus. And here I would like to write that statement. System.debug. I would like to specify that. Max number. I would like to specify that counter value equals to, I would like to generate that value. So for that one, I am multiplying that max number with that counter value. That's it. 2 lines of code. Done. So now here we have initialized that variable over here with the values, and then once with the variables values has been getting initialized, then we can able to check the conditions, and after that we can able to increment or decrement the values as well over here. Okay, we can increment or decrement the values also, and then write the business logic inside this. Now let's execute this code. Select the debug only checkbox. Now we can able to print that result also over here. That means here, when coming to that for loop provides an optimized way of using iterative statements inside your Apex programming. So that here, whenever we are going to be writing the code inside your Apex programming, in 99% of the cases, we can go with the for loop over here. Because here, we can reduce that number of lines of code also, and that it is an efficient way to write that code. Because when coming to the Apex programming language, you're having some number of characters limitation is also available. For that reason, in most of the cases, we are going with the for loop itself here, so that we can reduce the number of lines of code also. So this is how we can able to use the iterative statements inside your Apex programming. As part of this one, we are having one more iterative statement, that is enhanced for loop. For this one, we need the concept of arrays. So in tomorrow's session, we are going to be discussing about a concept called as arrays concept over here. So now once the arrays concept is done, then we'll see that enhanced for loop, because enhanced for loop requires a collection. That collection we need to prepare by using this arrays. We'll see what exactly the array, what is the use, and how to define an array in Apex programming language. We'll see practically in tomorrow's session here. Okay. So now by tomorrow we are going to be completing this the basic fundamental parts, and then from Monday onwards we are going to be entering into the TIPS concept, object-oriented programming. There we'll see how to create the records, how to create the classes, how to create the objects, and how can we access the members, how to insert the records into the object through programming, and then how to modify the records, how to delete the records, how to get the records, everything we'll see practically one by one. Okay. So now arrays concept is a bit important, because when moving forward we are going to be using this arrays also, so that you don't miss that arrays session. Tomorrow we'll be having the arrays concept, and then after that we'll be having the loops concept here from Monday onwards.